This is DJ Rubbish on the ones and twos.
Not just come here to let y'all know it's about to get real filthy in this mother.
My notes. All right. Welcome to episode 61 of In Todd We Trust. You can now access the podcast at itwtpodcast.com for spoiler-free one-sentence reviews and movie ratings, episode descriptions, song of the week playlist, movie soundtrack playlist, a submission form to be a guest on the show, and you can listen to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, as well as watch on YouTube on Thursdays. Today we have Alan as our guest today. How you doing, Alan?
I'm doing great, Todd. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's been a long time coming. I know that when we met, I know that it was like we met through Abby, and we met at Mopop. Actually, it was 2018. St. Vincent
was on stage.
Great performance. That was a great Mopop. I have to imagine. I hadn't been to any prior, but based on last year's set list, that has to be one of the best Mopops in 2018.
It was, yeah. And right before into the St. Vincent stage, Brockhampton was on. And
yes,
at the time, Brockhampton, I mean, they do 3 albums every year, but they were on like album number 3 or 4 at that point.
Yeah.
And they spent the rest of the year just blowing up. So, I mean, and then Vince Staples,
was there.
Bon Iver the night before.
Bon Iver was
Billie
there.
Eilish was there.
Billie Eilish,
everybody
my girl.
forgets that. Yeah.
I love Billie Eilish.
A year later, she's winning the Grammy.
I knew it, man. Yeah, she. I've been a huge Billie Eilish fan. Clairo was there, who I'm a huge fan of as well.
Right.
Always was there. It was
West
a
County
lot.
Orange.
Right, yeah.
There.
That's right. That's when the first time I ever heard of him. That was first time I ever heard of him.
And like the funny thing is, you wouldn't think it, but the worst performance of the whole thing was the National.
They
bombed.
They weren't amazing.
And they were the second headliner, and
I could have been without them. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
So we met there, and fellow fan of pop culture. So I knew that this would actually be a great fit. It was just kind of figuring, so many times where I'm trying to figure out a guest for a week, and I'll just be thinking, I'm like, who'll be good, and because I know so many people, and I'm just like, I always want it to be a good fit. So I never just want to ask someone like, hey, you're a person, I need a guest, you want to be on. It's like, okay, would they be interested? Like, even like when we were chatting before, like, 2 weeks ago, I think we were chatting about possibly you being on, and it was like, hey, okay, it didn't make sense, timing, fit. So then, like, wait till a movie that actually makes sense. So that's important.
Let me just add, because we don't really know each other that well, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
How did you know? I want to know what made you think I'll be the right fit for a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah, so I think the fact that, one, there's a lot of stars in it. So I'm like, I know you like pop culture, so I'm like, he's going to be familiar at least with a lot of these stars. Matthew McConaughey is a huge name, one of my favorites. So I think that was part of it. And I heard a lot of great reviews about this movie from friends that have seen it. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a solid movie. Let me just throw it out there. I was like, maybe I feel like a pop culture guy would be pretty interested in this. Yeah. And then I reached out and you're like, yep, sounds good. I was like, all right, cool. I hit the nail. So honestly, sometimes it's a shot in the dark and a guess. And then I hear back. And if you'd have been like, actually not my deal. Like I don't like organized crime films or something like that. I'd be like, oh, okay, I was wrong. So let me know.
No, you got this one right. You got it right.
So yeah, I guess. But yes, you have your own blog now.
That's right.
Real Quick is the name of it.
Right.
Want to talk about how you started? What made you start it? How long has it been out now? And
okay, yeah. Real Quick is the name, and that's spelled REEL, like a film reel.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's very short summaries. I try to keep it readable in 5 minutes or less.
Nice.
My thoughts on movies, sports, and TV, which is like my 3 favorite things in the world.
Nice.
And so that's why I started it. About a year ago, my birthday comes right after New Year's. So,
okay.
And on top of getting a new year to the year, I get a new year of life as well. So
yeah.
I always try to find a new challenge for myself.
Birthday?
So January 12th.
Okay.
So real soon after the New Year. So I was like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, I challenged myself to get out and just run more, right? Exercise more.
Yeah.
And I did that. And then a year later, I said, I'm going to read more because I don't
Yep.
read nearly enough. And I love reading. I just had all these thoughts and things, and I said, this year I'm going to write more.
Yeah.
Just keep that at a new challenge. And so I said, what do I want to do? And I decided I would go for a blog, cover something I felt comfortable with. Keep it short, both for the reader, but also for myself. And not make it too hard. I think a lot of people sometimes set too big of goals before they know what they're.
Very true.
Not before. I don't want to say before they know what they're capable of. Before they have the practice. It's about practice, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you're not just going to be amazing at something overnight. You have to give yourself space to grow into it, and also, you know, learn to feel comfortable making mistakes. So. Yeah. So that's So I said this is what I'm going to do with it. I've got 3 posts up right now. I just started. Oh man, I launched my first one the day I saw, the day I first saw this movie.
Oh really? Okay, got it.
Yeah. So I think it was January 26th. So it's a very, very new thing. 3 posts up, and I got one more. This will come out on Thursday. So I'll have one more coming out tomorrow night, Wednesday night. And so, you know, for all the listeners out there, go to real quick. It's Weebly. It's on my Instagram profile.
Yeah, check them out.
Yeah, and you'll see the link there, and check out the blog. Got a post on Mark Wahlberg, my boy Mark Wahlberg, coming up real soon here. So
oh yeah,
it's a fun time. You learn a lot about Marky Mark.
All right, awesome, man. Yeah, I love Mark. I love Mark. But no, yeah, dope. Definitely go check that out. When I went to go see this movie in theater, actually went earlier today. I went this morning. There was like a senior club there, like a senior moviegoer club. So it's probably like about 12 senior citizens in the theater along with me. Now, if you know me, if you're listening, you know that I target specifically showtimes, typically, where I don't think a lot of people will be in there. I just like to be in my own space. This is like my alone time. And again, it's a public place, so I can't, be upset if there's a lot of people in there. But I would prefer that it's not like opening night. A lot of chatter, a lot of stuff going on. They were very chatty at the beginning of the movie. I will say before the movie starts. So probably previews, lead up, and then maybe first 5 minutes of the movie. They were very chatty. I think I can't wait to be. I say this sometimes. I can't wait to be an old person and just have no regard for anyone else, because old people don't care. Old people think I've paid my dues, so I'm just gonna do and say whatever I want to do and say. It's crazy when you get to that point where it's just whatever. It's funny. And then also when you go into a theater and it's dark, if your eyesight can't find a seat after the lights go down, it would probably behoove you to get there prior to the previews. But instead, I saw a lot of flashlights in my face, and I'm just all right, just trying to enjoy the
A lot of not so very quiet whispering.
Yeah. Oh no, not at all. They're talking just how we're talking right now. They do not care. They're and if I would have said something, then I would have been the disrespectful youngster. You know. So obviously I did not. I held my tongue. Just said, all right. They'll get done talking at some point. Be respectful. They end up stop talking. So again, I enjoy the movie experience, but yeah, I can't wait to be the old person who does and says whatever they want.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To sum it up, okay, boomers. That's what I was thinking. When I got home, I was like,
okay,
oh,
you earned this. Whatever.
Very true. It was really funny too. I will say, to have them in there gasping every single time there was a curse word or there was any type of foul language. It was just oh my gosh, how dare he use that word, which there was a lot of in this movie. So that was amazing. I saw a preview for the new Bond movie. So when I went and saw it, saw a preview for the new Bond movie. I'm actually excited to see the new Bond movie. Christoph Waltz seems to be one of the main villains, if not the only villain in this new Bond movie. Do you think he's a top 5 villain as far as Christoph Waltz goes? Not for Bond movies, but just in general, as an actor.
I mean, it's hard. I feel like the villain in this movie that I'm more interested in is Rami Malek. He got the scars on his face, and I think he's got a mask on from part of the trailer. But if you look in the lineup, he I'm real. I mean, he's coming off an Oscar a year ago.
Yep.
He's in the villain role. Javier Bardem set the bar high. Then in the next one, what's his name? The German actor in the most recent one, Inspector. Oh, everybody out there knows what we're talking about.
I don't remember. I do not remember. I went and saw Spectre too in theater, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm a huge Bond fan. I don't know them all. And
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and
now I want to know.
I know. Well, he's great. He's been in a few things now. I mean, just Christoph Waltz. Christoph Waltz. Yeah, and he's back again. Yeah,
so he's back.
He's back again.
Was.
Yeah, it was Christoph Waltz.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
It is him. He is back again.
Yeah, man. Dude's a great. I mean, he's just great with that villain role.
Yeah, he's really good. He was very chilling, if you will, in the first one. He wasn't, the very animated, freaking out. Things are falling apart. He was there's a plan the whole time. I think what's scary about like calm villains is you're like usually when someone gets in a corner or starts to get in a corner, they start to get a little worked up. But when you're calm like that, it's like, ooh.
Yeah,
I don't know if I have him or not yet. He plays a good poker face.
Absolutely.
So he's pretty chill. And I see he was let me look up real quick. He was in something else as a villain. I think he's becoming.
He was in Django as a villain.
Oh yes. Yeah. Well, he wasn't quite a villain. Yeah, he wasn't quite a villain. Well, Inglourious Bastards.
Yep.
He's a Nazi. Yep. He's a very chilling in that as well.
This is what he
and so I think they maybe have found a lane for him.
Yeah.
That I
don't hate it.
He does well, and Rami Malek has kind of that calm composure.
He does. He's a
where
great
you
actor.
never know what to expect from him. I don't know if you've watched the Pacific miniseries.
I've not. No.
Okay, his role in that is just you never really quite know if he's gonna pop off or not.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's World War II, all the Marines in the Pacific. So anyway, I think the two of those guys combined, that's certainly a movie to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I want to go check that out. Song of the week, Alan. You got song of the week?
Song of the week. Yes. Real quick before I do the song, were you gonna ask me because you had told me in the text to come with the movie I'm looking forward to?
Oh yeah, that's at the end.
Were you gonna lead? That's at the end.
Yep.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure you were leading. You were assuming up on that pick.
No.
I got a pick.
All right, no, yeah.
I got a dark horse.
I got you. No,
so,
at the end.
All right, I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, good. So, song of the week. Yeah. Yeah. So I started. You watch Atlanta?
I've seen a couple episodes. I've thought about going back. It didn't catch me the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
I know it's a fan favorite.
Yeah.
But what song?
Well, so Atlanta is like to me that and Dairy Girls. I know you've seen Dairy Girls. Like the two funniest things you can watch right now. You can check out Atlanta on Hulu or Dairy Girls on Netflix. Yeah. But I love Hulu, and it's got I'm from down South Florida. It's got all the ATL rappers right on the soundtrack. So, I'm really into the Migos.
Migos, yeah.
I mean, I always like them, but they come back. They're just fun. You can get in them at any time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Stir Fry. To me, it's just my pitch is Migos song. And we were talking before the podcast. Work's been a little busy lately. I've been working late, and I'm a single guy. I gotta figure out food when I get home.
Yeah.
And that song just mentions like so many good, quick foods. I think you got stir fry, of course.
Who would have ever thought that stir fry from Migos would be educational?
Yeah, you got Popeyes. Sometimes we're wrapping up, and I'm like, walk to swing by and get some.
Oh my God, that's
a
great.
3-piece chicken meal. They got chicken curry in there, which is Target's got a great curry sauce you can pick up off the shelf, which makes it real quick. And then they got, I think they say blue cheese, but I always hear just grilled cheese just because it's at the end, and by that time I'm just thinking about all my favorite quick foods I can make when I get home. So that's just kind of been a real jam for me lately. I'm sure it's all a metaphor for something else, but I just never can think about that because all I'm thinking about is eating,
Yes.
So that's I'm gonna give me stir fry for my song of the week.
All right. Throw it quick. Well, I don't want to call it throwback. That was like maybe I just remember it coming out around All-Star Game like 2 or 3 years. What is that? 2-3 years ago? But
Probably, yeah.
My song of the week is Dr. Bird by Griselda. Griselda is a newer rap group. They only have one album out as a collective. Consists of Benny the Butcher, Westside Gunn, and Conway. They're out of Buffalo, I believe, is where Westside Gunn and Conway are from. Really like the album. This is one of my standout tracks from. I think it is the standout track from the album. It's one of probably 3 or 4 that I really liked. Not a lot of gangster rap left. So there's not a lot of gangster rap left out there, at least not on the popular, scene. Sometimes I just want to hear guys talking about, drugs and killing, everything that I truly have no reference of at all. Yet I memorize the lyrics, which is just hilarious. You're rapping the lyrics and you're like, I have no concept of any of this stuff. I really like their group, and Dr. Bird's the jam. So that is my song of the week. Coming up next, Alan, is Random Rapid Fire. If you've listened to a couple episodes, which you said you have, now is my favorite part of the episode. No prep for these questions. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Ready
as I'll ever be, right?
There you go.
Let's do it.
If you started a crime organization, what would you be selling?
I feel like drugs is kind of already...
I mean, if it's drugs, I don't want to stop you from your passion.
It's not. I feel like that's already... I'm a business guy.
Yeah.
Right? And you got to look at what's the niche in the market.
What's hot?
Now,
Yeah.
Tamagotchi. Everybody's doing that. Also with the legalization in Michigan recently, it's a little hard to break into. Gun seems super dangerous.
Very. Yeah. Definitely not safe.
And I'm trying to think through like the ethical options here, but we're talking crime.
Yeah.
So to try to find a good balance there. I think stolen goods might be a good one, like a fence.
Yes.
Like a fence. Like there's just so much merch out there. I do a little bit of work with in my professional life with Converse shoe company, right? And there's a guy I bump into when I'm over there once in a while, and he coordinates in trying to reduce the amount of knockoff Chucks out there.
Got it. Okay.
And he told me like the biggest knockoff Chuck dealers in the world live in like $1 billion mansions.
That's dope. That's really dope.
And so it's like I feel like you're not really hurting anybody, just maybe big corporations at the worst. And I feel like that could be, and then I think there's a niche market for it. So I'm gonna go. Give me fence. I'm gonna play the middle ground and go with I'm gonna be a stolen goods.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. If you were a crime boss, what would your nickname be, or would you have a nickname?
I think it's gonna be Big Al. I just feel like that's good. It's just like that's the obvious one, and people are gonna. So I'm just gonna go short and give me Big Al.
Nice. I actually there's this place called Big Al's. Is it Big Al's Roast Beef or? It's
not Big Al's Toy Barn, is it? From Toy Story.
No, from Toy Story 2. No. Big Al's Roast Beef in Chicago, which is great sandwiches. Yeah. But anyway, that's what I just thought of. I just saw their logo in my head as soon as you said that.
Yeah.
If you had to commit a crime, who would be your right hand man?
Oh no. I'm gonna give it a shot. Hopefully, he's gonna listen to this for sure. I'm gonna give it a shot to my boy Patrick Bowen.
Okay.
Patrick Bowen. I feel like I feel like he may have committed crimes, but he's very good at he's very good at keeping secrets. He's also really good at playing things off as a joke. So I feel like he'd just be a real guy. I feel like I might have to watch out. He might try to like usurp me. And take my spot at the top, so I have to watch him for that. But
too much ambition.
Yeah, of all my friends, I think I could trust him to one, be down to do something dirty, and two, not talk about it too much.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
So my boy Patrick Bowen.
Two great qualities to have in a right hand man. Have you ever sold drugs prior to being the upstanding citizen that you are today?
I'm gonna go with no.
I plead the fifth. I don't know. That was not convincing, Alan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was expecting a swift no, and you danced around it. I'm not gonna lie. If you accidentally witnessed a murder and was threatened not to tell, would you go to the police?
I'm gonna go. I mean, who's threatening me?
Someone who you'd be scared of.
Yeah. No, I'm not gonna tell.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
The person's already dead. It's not like I can save their life.
It's true.
And we don't need two more bodies.
That's very logical. Very
so
logical.
Again, ethical choice. No.
Nice. Have you ever had a story written about you in the paper?
Yes.
What was it?
Yes, I have. So getting away from the crime thing for a minute is actually real sweet and touching. I won a coloring contest. Contest. They took my picture. They came out. My mom had them meet me after church because I was in my my white shirt and tie.
Yeah.
I looked good for the paper. And they gave me free tickets to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And
wow. That's great.
I went to the circus with my parents and my grandparents and
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How old were you? What is a coloring contest? That is a...
I really don't know. Here's a funny thing. I've actually been in the paper twice, and it's so funny that I didn't think of the second thing until now because you would think the second thing is a bigger achievement, but I was in the paper a second time because I broke 1,000 points in scoring in basketball when I was in high school.
Dope. Okay, got it.
So I'm just sort of sitting here thinking it's kind of funny how like the first achievement my mind went to was the coloring contest. Instead of I scored 1,000 points.
Yeah, no, forget 1,000 points. You color inside the lines, man.
Well, and I think like I still play basketball. I'm a decent basketball player.
Yeah.
And so like scoring is something I did a lot. Whereas I'm a very, very bad artist when it comes to drawing. So the fact that I won a coloring contest, I think in my head stands out more because it doesn't surprise me that I could score points. It does surprise me that I could win a coloring contest.
So you're a walking bucket but can't color inside the lines. All right, there we go. Well,
so maybe that's why.
It's your achievement, man. It's your achievement. Go-to slushy flavor.
You asked this one to the.
Oh yeah, these last two are my usual.
Okay, good. I'm hoping the last one is what I think is. I planned really long and hard for that one, but I planned longer and harder for this one. It's actually 7-Eleven occasionally on rotation has a Verner's slushy flavor.
Yes, I had one this summer.
It's really good. Really good.
It is very good. I love Verner's. And then the final one is always the same here. If you had to rewatch the same movie for the rest of your life, what would it be? Yeah,
this was a really tough one, but I'm gonna give me The Big Lebowski.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I watch that at least once a month. So
really? Man. All right. This one always surprises me. If you had to rewatch the same movie, I think it surprises people too because a lot of times they're off guard and they just like say something and I'm like, what? Like, what? That's what you chose? But no, that's awesome. So getting into the movie now. We are reviewing The Gentleman. IMDb description for it: an American expat tries to sell off his highly profitable marijuana empire in London, triggering plots, schemes, bribery, and blackmail in an attempt to steal his domain out from under him. The release date was the 24th of January. Notable cast: Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Jeremy Strong, Colin Farrell, Henry Golding, and Hugh Grant. Writer and director Guy Ritchie, who also did the most recent Aladdin that I reviewed on the podcast. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, also featured Charlie Hunnam. Did a great job there. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I thought was a horrible movie, but also
really
I hated it.
That's top 5 Guy Ritchie for me. Probably
Really?
top 3. We can get into that later.
Okay, yeah, we can chat about it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E., yeah, me and my friends went and saw that one in college, and I was not a fan. One of my friends, actually, funny story, my boy Charlie, he fell asleep in the theater, and me and my friend Leroy, we left him in the theater, and it was the last showing of the night. So we leave him, lights go. We think he's gonna wake up literally right after we come out of the bathroom. So we go sit in the car, right? We're in the car for 10-15 minutes. Still no Charlie comes out. So when we pull, we move the car around the corner so that when he comes out, he thinks we left him. So he calls us. He's like, yo, where you guys, stop playing, where you guys at? And he likes to joke and stuff, but he was just tired and irritated at this point. He's like, where you guys at? And I'm like, well, yo, we left, man. What are you talking about? He's like, no, seriously, where you guys at? And he's like, yo, I woke up and a guy was in there cleaning his feet and the lights on.
The guy didn't clean. I didn't wake him up.
Wake him up.
It's not my job. It's not my job. I just need to clean it.
He's cleaning popcorn.
I don't have good time for this.
Oh, amazing. But that's what I always think of when I think of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. It was cool to see the poster at the end of the movie there when he's pitching this story or whatever. That was kind of cool.
You catch that?
Sherlock Holmes, Guy Ritchie, which is my number one Guy Ritchie for sure. I thought the first one. The second one, the first Sherlock Holmes was amazing.
Excellent.
You could definitely see some of the creative writing used in this movie. I think as far as just the twists and turns and things you don't see coming, and just really, really clever. Runtime for the movie, 1 hour and 53 minutes. So before getting into the movie, or before going to see the movie, what were your thoughts? What were you expecting? What were you looking forward to? Did you know much about the film? All that.
Yeah. So I'm a huge Guy Ritchie fan.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I'll bring this up a little bit without getting too off topic. Although this is the podcast where we also get off topic,
that's
so
what
maybe
we do.
that's okay. But I just love British crime movies in general. It's so different, right?
Yeah.
It's so different from American crime movies, and it's just interesting to see, how it goes down in another very modern Western country like England, particularly London.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good ones out there, but Guy Ritchie's the best at it, consistently the best at it. So I was really excited. This is also he started off with Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, which is my favorite Guy Ritchie movie.
Got it. Okay. I've not seen that.
Oh yeah, that's an excellent. I think it's on Netflix right now.
Okay.
It was at the end of the year.
Okay.
I watched it not long ago. I think over Christmas.
Okay.
Snatch is obviously his big claim to fame.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my second one. I gotta say. And he hasn't really done. Well, he Rock and Rolla in there if you ever see that one.
Okay.
Yeah, Rock and Roller's in there, which is British crime. But then he hasn't done a British gangster movie.
Yeah.
That was 2008. I think I saw when I was doing some research for this. So he hasn't really done, a British gangster film for a while, and I kind of missed it.
Yeah.
And I love Sherlock Holmes.
Yep.
I love The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And so, I was okay, but then I was I'm missing. We haven't had many good British gangster movies. So that's when I saw, okay, he's back.
Yeah.
He's back. A little bit different than normal, and we'll talk about that later, I'm sure, but I'm excited. A different approach, but, his typical strength. And so I was really excited to see what he was going to put together, for his comeback to this genre 12 years later.
Yeah. So unlike you, I'm not I don't like Guy Ritchie, but I don't follow his work that intently. But I saw the cast and was already in. I saw the cast and I was like, I'm in. I love every person in it. And just was interested how they'd all be in a movie together. Didn't know I knew it was an organized crime movie, but that was kind of the extent of my knowledge. I didn't know, obviously no one knew the twists and turns it was going to take. Yeah. But I didn't even really know the involvement or assume Matthew McConaughey was probably going to be the top guy, but didn't know how it was going to all play out. I do love organized crime films. I like to think I could be a mobster, but my conscience would likely stop me from actually being one. Huge fan of Matthew McConaughey. I need to see him redeem himself from Serenity, which was horrible. with him and Anne Hathaway, which that hurt me because I love Anne Hathaway as well. But that was horrible. That came out either early last year or 2018. But I was like, okay, I need to see him redeem himself. So that was part of me going. I think Matthew McConaughey can have a long-standing career in voiceovers if he wanted to.
It's true.
I think he could be in voiceovers. I personally love the Lincoln commercials because they're hilarious.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of flack for him because he just talks. It sounds like in riddles and in circles, but it's really funny.
Yeah, it's funny because he did get a lot of flack at first, but it's gone sort of from joke to like, this is our thing. This is America's thing.
Right.
And then him at the sideline, you watch college football, him sideline on all the Texas games. I mean, he's become sort of like a little bit of a camp icon, if you will. Just like this part of pop American culture. All right.
Yeah,
he's got that thing for himself now. So, this is the best. I think this is the best I've seen him since Dallas Buyers Club, which he is just a fantastic movie.
Amazing.
He's unbelievable in that.
Amazing.
And so this role was such a great natural fit for him. But yeah, absolutely, it's just outstanding, stellar casting.
Yeah, he's just so cool. Like he's a guy to me is just like the epitome of cool. I mean, and also in why am I not thinking of True Detective? Amazing in that as well. So, thinking back to that performance, I recently got on True Detective last year. I saw that first season last year in prep for the third season coming out. People were telling me it's so great, and they weren't lying. I was not let down by watching that. So yeah, I thought that was amazing. I think right when you go into the movie, from the first scene, it grabs you right away. So they get right to the action, and I'm gonna lead you into believing that it's Matthew McConaughey got killed, and we're gonna see a story about how he ended up getting killed.
Yeah.
That's what they set you up to believe. Obviously, that's not the case, which I'm happy about.
Oh, you're gonna spoil it right from the beginning.
Oh, we spoil everything.
It's fine to spoil the movie, but I was gonna say they got me with that.
Yeah.
Did they get you too?
Oh, 100%.
The whole time I'm watching the plot up until you find out what really happened. Yeah. In my head, I'm like, don't get too attached to Matthew McConaughey because he's dead man walking.
Yeah.
I really thought for sure. And
absolutely.
A cool thing they do is they make Matthew McConaughey, Mickey, and Raymond, Charlie Hunnam, they make them very unassuming at first.
Yes.
And you don't realize, so you think, you totally believe that Matthew McConaughey's going to get capped. Yeah. He's old. Yeah. He's the guy out of the game. There's bigger, more powerful people ganging up against him, come for his money. Right. So they totally got me with that intro.
They set it up perfectly. Like I said, the writing was I think the writing was really well done. And just creative storytelling, because a lot of these movies, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and just the ending and everything. Typically with these movies, what happens is, especially when they're based on true stories, like a Goodfellas, where the guy actually did snitch in real life, it always leads to a point where they end up dead. Like a significant part of the organization ends up dead or behind bars, or snitching. So, in this, so you just assume, again, killing, it wasn't something like, they're just throwing us off guard. It's like, no, that's typically what happens in these movies.
That's a good point.
So, you don't have any reason to question that setup. Mm-hmm. And there's so many movies where they start off, here's the ending. How did we get here? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and I thought it was interesting they didn't do like a 3 days before or 1 week later. You kind of just have to figure out how the story is being maneuvered. And, again, from the perspective of the perspective of it being told from Fletcher's investigative journalism, I thought was creative and added a layer to the story that again throws you off course a bit.
I'm just gonna let me just you said you haven't seen Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
I have not,
and you haven't seen Snatch.
I have not.
Okay,
no.
So I'm gonna just for your listeners and any other fans out there, something you gotta know about Guy Ritchie movies, and you see it in Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. And you see it in Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yes.
There's a lot going on.
A lot, yeah.
A lot going on, and he jumps so quickly, scene to scene. Yeah. That you got to really pay attention. And for as many times as I've seen as many of his movies as I have seen, and as many times as I have seen them, I own all those movies I just named. Yeah. He still got me. Yeah. Like, he still got me. I'm like, how does he always do this, right? Yeah. And he got me. But that's just something. I mean, it's a lot to keep up with in his movies. And if you've never seen one, you're probably not expecting it, but you really got. And I think he does that because he wants you to understand how his characters feel. Yes. Because you're Matthew McConaughey, there's always someone coming up behind you. Yeah. Yeah. And so it kind of you feel like you're just caught in the rinse cycle. Yeah. And that's how. But Matt comes out on top, and you just felt so far behind, and that's when you realize I can't do this gangster thing. Yeah. I can't do this gangster thing. So he does a great job of making you realize. So I just to point that out. It's again back in. We got classic Guy Ritchie coming back again. Yeah. Are we going to talk about the cast at all?
Oh, absolutely.
Is that in your notes? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll wait to bring that up then. Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
All right. Go ahead.
But yeah, I thought that the soundtrack was really good. I thought the soundtrack paired really nicely with the scenes, which I pay a lot of attention to because I've mentioned on here before that one of my like dream jobs at one point would be to create soundtracks for movies, which would be really dope. I'm really into music. I'm more into music than I am movies and TV shows. It's something I'm really passionate about. So again, I pay really close attention to that and movies and just how they pair the songs and everything. It didn't sound like they just threw songs in there. Sometimes with movies like this, especially new age gangster films, they just throw it sounds like they just throw a lot of like random hot tracks. Like it'll be like, here's a rock song, here's a rap song, back to rock. Like it kind of, they go back and forth between that, or dramatic classical songs or something like that for scenes, and they didn't do that. Again, it was kind of creative how they did it. Going into the casting and characters, which I think is probably the best way to go through this film specifically because there are so many characters and they have such a big role. I think every character, I would argue that most characters, if not every character, had an equal importance. They didn't have an equal part, but they had an equal importance. Like I didn't feel like anyone was just thrown in there as like he's a big name. We just need, let's grab Colin Farrell. Let's see if Matthew. I feel like everyone had a very significant role, and that without them, it wouldn't have been the same movie.
Yeah.
So starting with Mickey, love him. I think like you have the typical savage yet charismatic villain.
So Mickey's the villain in your mind?
I'm sorry, I shouldn't say villain. Anti-hero.
Okay.
Anti-hero.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, so not villain.
Yeah.
He's a savage yet charismatic anti-hero. So again, from our it's almost like you're watching Narcos. Like we know this guy's a bad guy, but like we love him and that we're rooting for him. So you find yourself again the entire time you're rooting for him, even though he's not blameless.
Right.
But love him and it's this is McConaughey's bread and butter in my opinion.
Yeah. I like that we had an American in the movie.
Yeah.
Guy Ritchie movies are typically, it's all very British.
Yeah.
And, I think to your point, you always sort of picture yourself as, where do I fit in this gangster world?
Yeah.
And in a British movie, as an American, is a little hard,
True, yeah.
But you see him doing, you're like, oh, okay, I can maybe navigate this well. Right. But, you get this progression that Matthew does so well in that movie where he's, like I said at the beginning, I believe he died because he starts off a little unassuming.
Yeah.
You're like, he's trying to retire.
Yep.
And that's where people get you.
Yep.
You start to slow down at the end of your career, but he's got to make that last big sale. I'm like, he doesn't see it coming.
Nope, yeah.
But his final scene, which I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about towards the end, he's stone cold.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. You realize he didn't get this far by being who we thought he was.
Right, exactly.
He got this far because when it comes time to do business, he's the boss. And the lion doesn't become the king of the jungle by acting like the king of the jungle.
Yeah, right.
He becomes the king of the jungle by being the king of... No, I got that backwards. Oh, man.
Close enough.
Point is, he acted like the king of the jungle.
Yeah.
And he got things done, and he is still the number one lion in London.
Man, I loved it. I love like his energy. And again, to your point, I think they do make him unassuming at first. It's a really good point because... as you're watching, you start to believe almost like maybe it is Ray just doing all the heavy lifting. Now, obviously, they painted his picture at the beginning of, hey, he had to like get his hands a little dirty at the beginning, but they did paint this picture that now he's basically just dining and whining and dining the politicians, and he's up here on this, up on this mountain where it's like, hey, I don't get down in the weeds too much. Ray kind of is my guard dog that goes down to the stuff, and it's like, hey, don't get it twisted. Like, what I mean? Like when it's time, again, like you said, when it's time for the lion to come out. Don't get it twisted.
And you see at the end, he was that college student that would walk into a room full of gangsters and lay the law down, and that's who he was at heart. And he had seemed to become a little more sophisticated, but he still had that mean streak. So it's super cool character, super cool.
Yeah, I love it. And again, just typical McConaughey. And again, I love McConaughey, and I love these type of roles. And I just think that. If he's always the wittiest, smartest guy in the room, one step ahead. That's kind of always 2 steps ahead. Always his deal. One funny line he had that I really liked is, or not one, he had a couple, but you need to invest in a parachute. When he said it to Ray, when the like second guy that he was chasing after falls, off a roof, he's like, that cracked me up. So it caught me off guard. So again, still that very quick wit humor and stuff like that. Ray.
Yeah.
Ray, as amazing as McConaughey was, I honestly, he stole the show for me. I think Ray stole the show. He was amazing. I definitely want a Ray in my corner. If I'm, talking about right hand man, man,
Absolutely.
it would it behoove you to have a Ray.
Yeah.
When he pulled the gun out in the alley, and the guys thought they were going to jump up. I mean, just love that scene, right?
Love that scene.
It's just epitomizes everything that Ray was in the movie and everything that you want, and like that guard dog, like fearless, like and he truly was fearless. Like at no point in the movie did I think. Did I ever feel like anyone was going to take him down?
Yeah.
I didn't see any panic. Even when Fletcher witnessed, his men moving the body from the freezer. When he's over and he walks to the bathroom and sees them moving the body, he didn't panic at all.
Be a problem.
He's like, yeah, this is gonna be a problem. He didn't even flinch. He didn't nothing. No sweat, nothing. So, I really loved Ray.
You said everything about Ray that I would say. I'm just going to talk about Charlie Hunnam for a minute.
Yeah.
I think this was a big movie for Charlie Hunnam.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like he's bounced around a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing about him, he's a British guy through and through, born in Newcastle. He's your proper British boy.
Yep.
But he's famous for playing an American motorcycle gang member in Sons of Anarchy.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's kind of his legacy because he hasn't really had a career-defining role outside of that.
Yeah.
So here he got to play that British gangster. Did a really good job.
Amazing.
Really good job, and I could see. I watching that performance, I sort of see him as like a Daniel Craig.
Really?
Daniel Craig had a great movie called Layer Cake.
Okay.
If you've never seen it, highly recommend it to anybody. I believe it's on Netflix right now. And it's before his Bond days. And it's a great gangster movie. I thought it was a Guy Ritchie movie the first time I saw it for sure.
Really?
It's in that typical, but it's not. So anyway, so Charlie Hunnam, this sort of reminded me of that. So I see this as a big breakthrough for him. One other fun thing about Charlie Hunnam, Charlie Hunnam was in a sort of independent movie with Elijah Wood called Green Street. Some people call it Green Street Hooligans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing my West Ham hat tonight. West Ham United is my favorite soccer team in the
Nice.
Premier League team. Charlie Hunnam plays a West Ham hooligan in that movie, and I saw
really?
that movie
Okay.
as a kid. I didn't know English soccer teams, and so when I started getting into soccer, I was like, I'm going to choose West Ham because that was Charlie Hunnam's team in Green Street Hooligans. So I like to see him that was 2006, I want to say.
Yeah.
So I like to see him back again. I'm cheering for him. He's, I love West Ham. I went to a game in London this past fall.
Dope,
first
man. That's
time.
awesome. Yeah.
So, it's just fun for me to see him back because, he's played an influential role that influenced a thing in life that I really care about. So this is a fun little fact about Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, man.
Made him special to me.
Oh yeah. You have a personal connection with Charlie Hunnam. He I think this was a great role for him. I think this maybe it's just the beard and everything. He reminds me a little bit of like a Tom Hardy to a degree.
Yeah.
More sophisticated Tom Hardy, but no, I think this role is a launching pad. This is a big film. I think this was really good and really well done, and I think it's not going to be just one of those films that you get to the end of the year and I forgot that came out. I think it's one that you're talking about still.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, in my opinion. Fletcher. So so getting to Fletcher. One thing and I say this sometimes with movies where someone snitches or someone confronts a killer or horror movie, whatever it is. I've never understood when reporters or anyone in general confronts dangerous people in films.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. Like, why would what they're capable of, so why would you test the waters? Like, I wouldn't find myself blackmailing someone who I know kills people, like who has killed multiple people. Because hey, even though I have all this blackmail, if I know they have a hot streak, then why would I push that button? It's like, hey, again, if your life is worth you blackmailing someone and maybe getting 20 million or maybe getting whatever you're trying to get.
Yeah.
Again, that always.
That's 20 million, right?
Yeah,
20 million.
Yeah,
20 million. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what you go. You think you got enough on that? He had a lot,
a ton
on
pictures.
them,
Yeah, he
which
did.
again just makes Matthew McConaughey and Charlie Hunnam's play even more impressive because they knew as much as he had. They had more.
Yeah.
And so, I think he was and he's a lifetime journalist. He's got no life outside of this.
Right, that's true.
So this is his big break he thinks. He can get a movie script out of this. He can get a producer credit and 20 million.
Right.
So, I wouldn't throw a script in there for free. I don't know. He's not a businessman, he's a journalist, so we think differently than that. But
True.
Yeah, I did not like Fletcher.
Yeah.
I didn't like Fletcher.
No,
he was so wormy from the beginning, and I'm like, I was like, oh, you're really gonna blackmail, like. And they spent the first 20 minutes of the movie. They almost lost me.
Really?
Yeah, they spent the first 20 minutes of the movie with him talking through his thing. Not only did I not like Fletcher, I didn't think Hugh Grant's acting was so good. Hugh Grant's like suave. That's his thing. He's a ladies' man. And it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah.
But then once I saw where he was going, I was like, okay, he doesn't have any what the plot does.
Right.
And the rest of the cast. And I gotta see where this goes. So yeah, I'm out on Fletcher. I didn't love that one. Guy Ritchie does all his own casting. I think he did the casting for this movie. He frequently does his own casting and wardrobe, actually, by the way.
Oh,
he does a lot in his own movies. But I think this was a miss. I don't think Hugh Fletcher was the right guy. I'm sorry, Hugh Grant was the right guy to be Fletcher. I'll tell you what, dark horse pick. He probably wasn't available because he's in the new Bond movie coming up. But I would have honestly taken Daniel Craig for that role, Fletcher.
Really?
Yeah, I would have. Just this dark horse shot in the dark pick. Just because two reasons. One, I've seen him as a gangster.
Yeah.
I've seen him as Bond, and I've seen him as a journalist in Girl with Dragon Tattoo.
Yes.
And you're gonna pay Hugh Grant money. Daniel Craig's gonna be more money, but you give it a shot and get him a shot to play with all these guys and be a British gangster. You might have gone for it. I just that's just a thought, just a dark horse, prediction analysis there.
I would go opposite direction. If not Hugh Grant, someone more I don't have a name in mind, but someone just more like slimy, wormy, like that type of character. Because you're right. I think again, Hugh Grant, like you said, is the suave guy typically. Yeah. So I hated his character. I think it was a necessary storytelling device to have that guy that's blackmailing. But yeah, that might be I can definitely see there being someone else out there that you can maybe get to play a more convincing, wormy detective, slimy guy who's who's trying to go behind the back and calls himself being one step ahead of the gangster. So. But yeah, I did like how they went through the narrating. I think I liked it because of the fact that it was true. So if they would have done a lot of the part where he was where Matthew McConaughey just shoots dries in the head or whatever. If they would have done and he was like, actually, I'll just add it in that piece in there for dramatics. Mm-hmm. If they would have gone back and forth toggling between what actually happened and him as dramatics, I would have got super annoyed. Like that would have been really campy and annoying. I think that because the storytelling he was giving, it was at the same time as showing us what actually did happen, I was cool with it. Okay. I think that's where I gave him some on that. Yeah. Dry Eye. Thoughts on Dry.
Thoughts on Dry. So more so thoughts. Okay. Dry was
/ Henry Golding.
Yeah. We'll go back to Henry Golding because I know you like Henry Golding because you're a Last Christmas guy, right?
Yeah.
Didn't you do a podcast on it?
I did. I did do it. My thoughts on it was it was one of those. It's a bad movie, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a big Hallmark Christmas guy. Recently, so we can come back and talk on that.
All right.
But let's talk about Dry before we talk about Henry Golding. So Dry, bad guy.
Yeah.
Bad dude.
Yeah.
I mean, just no conscience, no remorse for anything, and too aggressive. I mean, that's what gets him killed. He's too eager to be on top. He doesn't have the backing behind him.
No.
Something that Matthew McConaughey had that won the movie for him. He had loyalty. Yeah. He had Charlie Hunnam. He had those guys who worked in the fish distribution plant at the end who are at his back, right? And he won over I'm sure we'll talk about them soon, but the toddlers.
The
coach, and he got those. I mean, people trusted him. He had loyalty. He'd been around. He had a name.
Till the end, the toddlers.
Yeah, well, they're interesting. They're interesting. Dry didn't have any of that, and he made moves thinking he did.
Yeah.
And just a bad move. But he thought I think his violence could get him there, and violence gets you so far, but it catches up with you when you carry it away, and that's what Matthew McConaughey had, that right balance of violence. He knew when to tone it back and seem a little unassuming, but then
for sure
that mean streak, that lines come out, man. So that's Dry Eye's big problem. Henry Golding, where's his career gonna go? Because you've got this was very convincing.
I thought he did a really great job. He's an interesting dude because I really like Henry Golding. Let me start with that. My love for him comes more from less of Last Christmas and more of Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about that.
Which was one of the first movies I reviewed. I think it was the third movie I reviewed. And I love that movie. I love rom-coms. To me, that's one of my favorite rom-coms of all time. I thought it was amazing. But anyway, not to go on Crazy Rich Asians, but he's also in that A Simple Favor, which I wasn't a huge fan of. I think A Simple Favor and Last Christmas on the same level of not that great, but in both of those, I liked his character. I think he does a great job of playing those characters. And he's a face that you're gonna see a lot of. I think I've seen a ton of them already in the last year and a half. And I think he's just someone you can kind of relate with. He's a good looking guy. So he can play a plethora of roles. Again, he can go from the gangster now that we see. Yeah. He can do that all the way to being the lovable sweet guy in Last Christmas, to Crazy Rich Asians where he's the heartthrob, so
what we got he can do rom-coms, he can do delightfully cheesy type movies like that,
cheesy,
and gangster movies. Yeah. Maybe Henry Golding's our next Matthew McConaughey.
Maybe, and he does suspense for a favor.
So watch out for Henry Golding.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him.
He's on the rise and excellent in this movie. Just how can you go from a guy that's as romantic and charming as he is in some Crazy Rich Asians to being just as cold-blooded and cutthroat,
crazy,
mean as he is in this movie? So
crazy, man.
Awesome job.
The twist with him was good too, even how they played him in there. The need, again, he's young and dumb and ambitious character. Yeah. There's always a need for that in these type of films. There's always in any type of gangster film, organized crime film, there's one guy who's just too ambitious, too eager, and not wise, since they know more than they do. Yeah. And you see this as, I love it because you see it in real life, whether it's, no matter what job it is. Sometimes people are so ambitious that they think they're a lot smarter than what they actually are. Mm-hmm. So again, I like seeing that played out as well.
And I just one last thing about him.
No, you're good.
He's the villain, right? Like he's the villain of this movie,
and he is certainly the villain.
He, and he nails it. He brings all the villainous pieces together because there's other villains in the movie.
Yeah,
we haven't talked about. We haven't. I'm gonna probably spend. I don't know whatever you want to say, but Jeremy Strong is Matthew.
Yes.
Also a wormy bad dude. And do we just move into him then?
Just move into him.
Let's just go for Matthew. Love Matthew because of how much I hated him. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The riddles drove me crazy, but cracked me up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's good. He's so good. Like a Jeremy Strong. I don't really. What's Jeremy Strong in? You know?
Succession.
Oh, okay. I have people keep telling me to watch that. I do want to see it.
Completely different character.
I don't have
completely
HBO.
Different character.
I don't have HBO.
Gotcha.
So I gotta find a way. I'm sure I can bum a password off somebody. But
there you go.
But yeah, no, he was so good, and he was wormy, and you found out his connection to Dry Eye, and again, all these power players coming for the King of the Jungle.
Yeah,
they just adding to that whole line. They open with the line about the lion, right? So that I butchered earlier, and they just, he's just a great character to play into that, and I really, really, really like him.
I feel like they're in. I know there's going to be some people who hear me and they're going to be like, you completely misquoted that because they love this movie. I saw it one time and I thought it was good, and I didn't need to see it again. Wolf of Wall Street, which Matthew McConaughey is in. Yeah. I feel. Did he say something about a line in that movie?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's so high on coke. He's
so
saying all kinds of crazy things. Yeah. But he does say something about a lion.
The chest, yeah. So I don't. Right. Yeah, I feel like he said something about a lion. Again, I know some people are gonna listen and be like, "This is what he said," and be pissed that I didn't know it, even though again, that's a movie. That's a one time. Liked it. Don't need to see it a million times. But yeah, Matthew, his talking in riddles, I actually wrote down one of his quotes that just I was literally laughing in the theater because I was like, because he has so many riddles and he's just like. His character is hilarious. Like, you're like, how's this a real character? In France, it's illegal to call a pig Napoleon, but try and stop me. Yeah. And just the way he said it, like, it just was like, what?
That line was so good because here's what. So, whereas Henry Golding is an actual bad dude.
Yes.
And Matthew McConaughey is a bad dude.
Yeah.
And that's why they can fight for the crown.
Right.
Jeremy Strong's not a bad dude.
He had no business in it.
I mean, a line like that's just like.
He's the business guy.
I'm going to do whatever he's a business guy. He does not fit in that world.
No.
And he's trying to. He thinks he can, but he's your character that you're like, this dude.
You're stupid.
This dude is, I don't know, whatever tries to fight a lion. Like, he's the hyena.
Yeah.
He's the hyena of the jungle. Does that work? That works, right?
Yes, that definitely works. I like that.
That works. Mankind is a lion. I don't think tigers and lions live in the same kind of jungle, but for lack of it.
We're going to go with it.
Jeremy Strong, Dry Eye can be the tiger.
Yep.
I'm going to take lion over tiger every time.
Yep.
And Jeremy Strong is the hyena. He just roves around trying to pick up the scraps.
Yeah, man. He's just like he's the cash cow for this movie. So it's like you have to know who you are. Like you're not the gangster. You're not the guy who makes deals behind. You know what you do. You just you provide the money. You pay the big bucks for something.
And he makes a good business play. That's his strength.
Yeah.
If he and this is what always happens. This is the classic downfall of partnerships.
Yep.
Right. Both guys they want it all.
Yeah.
That's why partnerships don't usually work out. Henry Golding was mean enough to make it work, but he wasn't smart enough.
Right.
Jeremy Strong, Matthew, was smart enough. He makes the right business play by driving the price down, but he's not mean enough to hold it there.
Right. Exactly.
And he loses his mean guy.
You don't even have any gangsters with you. Like, he literally had no gangsters. So it's just like, yo, you have no one's even backing. You have no security. Like
Henry Golding's not a Dry's not a gangster. He's a thug. He's an enforcer. He's an enforcer.
Exactly.
He's not. So yeah, you got a bad combination there. So if I'm Jeremy Strong, pay the money. Make the money, get out, before it's all legal.
Exactly.
You can make it pretty quick. I think I don't sell drugs.
Right. Yeah. But from what I learned from this movie, it sounds pretty profitable.
You had enough time.
Yeah.
I think it could have worked for him. So.
Rosaline, I think I'm saying her name correctly.
Yeah. So great.
I have her down. I have her down as maybe like the hardest or like most hardcore character after Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah. Oh, she's so good.
Dope.
Oh,
like, she's not number one. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, Okay. Back to the lion analogy.
Yeah.
We all know like how tough lionesses are. We've all seen Lion King.
They do all the
especially Lion King 2.
Yeah.
Lion King 2. Remember who goes after?
I watch a lot of the National Geographic, so a lot of people don't know that lionesses are the ones that do the fighting. They do the hunting.
That's right.
Like those are the tough ones. Those are the ones you don't want to mess with.
And Rosalind is that. She's amazing. She remember I was Lion King 2. Just that pack of lionesses that Simba's got working for him because he knows. He knows that's where the power's at 100%. In the Lion Kingdom, and she fits in that analogy 100%. She's incredible. Yeah. Her power suits blew me away. They're calling this a 2019 movie. When was the actual release date for it?
January. It was January this year.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be up for 2020 Oscars or if it missed the boat on 2019.
Yeah, I believe it'll be. We actually talked about this on the Oscar nomination podcast. Yes, it should be up for 2020.
Okay, because I'll give it to me, and we'll see what comes out early on because Bond's got to come out too. But wardrobe Oscar, and we'll talk about that with the toddlers. But the wardrobe of this movie, top notch.
Yes.
Wardrobe crown for the movie definitely goes to Rosalind. I loved it. One thing about her, she makes the biggest mistake of the movie though. The biggest mistake of the movie, and you're gonna remember. Okay, here's what she does. She's got 3 guys in a room. Yeah. Right. Bad guys, big guys, mean guys. Henry Golding and his boys. Right.
Yeah.
And she knows she has 2 shots in that little Derringer paperweight pistol. Right.
Yeah.
That thing doesn't have a lot of stopping power. I have to imagine. She shoots 2 guys.
Yeah.
And then leaves, of all people, Henry Golding, the boss, like the head guy there, and she's out of bullets, and he knows it right away.
Right.
And, I mean, that was almost it for her. Like, it almost got real bad there for a minute. So, as cool as she was, I'm like, you really made a big mistake there. Yeah. And, of course, Matt Cott's got to run in and save her. And,
I mean, just
love that.
No, but I love that he got there just in time.
Yeah, it was good. But she's smarter than that. Come on, Rosalind. She's smarter than that.
Yeah, I didn't see, I thought she was going to be the downfall of his empire because of the fact that that Fletcher mentioned early on, that's his Achilles heel. So again, you can take that so many different ways. Mm-hmm. Obviously, in this movie, it was used as that's what he cares about most, and that's what he meant by that. Yeah. But sometimes you don't know, like, okay, is she going to be the wife or girlfriend who she's the downfall because she spends too much money, or she's the downfall because she's too flashy, or you've seen some of these different things play out. She's going to be the downfall because she's not loyal and she'll snitch on them. So you just don't know. So I was just curious when he said that. It kind of was something like, okay, is this foreshadowing? How is she going to be the downfall? And again, what he meant is that's what he cared about most. I didn't know, if she was going to be like I said, careless, greedy, a backstabber. But I'm glad that none of that was the case.
Ride or die.
She's ride or die, and can hold her own. So it's not even just like, hey, I'm not letting my man. It's like, hey, don't get it twisted. Boom, she shot the one guy. It was like, all right, you go get her. Boom, shot him in between, and a great shot too. So she's had a gun before in her hand.
Let me just fun little trivia about her and see what you think about this. You know who was supposed to play her before she backed out?
No,
Kate Beckinsale.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know Michelle. I know Michelle Dockery's in Downton Abbey, which I haven't really seen.
No, I haven't seen that.
You know what? I kind of feel like we really missed out by not getting to see Kate Beckinsale in this. I mean, Kate Beckinsale obviously in the what's her vampire movies?
Look it up
now. You know what I'm talking about. They were really big in the early 2000s. She's an action star.
Oh yeah. Underworld.
Underworld. Yeah.
I love Underworld.
She's amazing. She's one of the best female, like her and the girl from Alias, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Is that who?
I love Jennifer Love Hewitt as well. I don't know if that.
Anyway, whoever was in Alias, her. You got a few other people, but she's one of the best female actors. Oh, of course, Uma Thurman, Kill Bill. But Kate Beckinsale, and Kate Beckinsale's a London girl.
Yeah, Kate Beckinsale. You might be honest. She might have been a great pick.
So I just, I would have loved, instead of the Derringer,
Man, I miss the Underworlds, man. You just made me. I
You got a weekend plans ahead of you.
Right.
But no, I mean, I would have been cool to see instead of Derringer, like Kate Beckinsale do hand-to-hand combat with all three of those guys in the office.
That'd been sick.
And Matthew McConaughey shows up, like you do like another jump kind of thing, and he shows up. You think he's gonna have to save her, and she's just totally clean house in there. That would have been really fun. And I'm not trying to tell Garrett he had to do his job. He does a fine job of it, but still, I don't find that mistake believable. And Kate Beckinsale does not make that mistake.
No,
if she's in that role, doesn't make it. So.
Very true. Very true.
Anyway, this is a fun trivia.
Last but not least, as far as characters, wanted to touch on Coach in the Toddlers.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Often Colin Farrell does not get used well.
Yes.
They try to make him British.
I agree with that.
They try to make him British all the time.
Yes.
He's Irish through and through.
Yeah.
And he got to play an Irish guy.
Yeah.
Who's an underworld, seedy, probably East Londoner if I had to guess.
Yeah.
At least now he's Irish, obviously. He was great. He was great.
Amazing.
He had a heart, a little racist.
Yeah.
Some things in there. I'm like, do we need that? But he's a tough guy. Yeah. I guess that's what they would say, and I don't know if he did for the movie. But he's got a good heart deep down.
Yeah, I loved him.
He
was one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he cared about the kids.
Colin Farrell was amazing. Like you said, again, I don't think he gets used the correct way a lot of the time. When he was when we find first scene with Coach is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Maybe my favorite scene of the movie. When the guys, the Tyler's who work for him, who they don't know is their coach, walk in and they go to stab him. And he just smacks it out of his hand. Another guy comes, and at no point does he even throw it. Now he owns a boxing gym, so it's implied, and he goes by coach. So it's implied that he's probably a very accomplished fighter.
You don't know he's coaching that part.
You don't know.
You don't know that. Yeah,
now at the end, you know that he's a coach and is of a boxing ring, and that's what they're referring to. So probably a pretty accomplished boxer.
Yeah.
Yet this entire fight, at this point, you don't know who he is. He only beats them with slaps. Yeah. So it's even more disrespectful. Like, hey, I could really mess you guys up, and I have no weapons. I'm just smacking you around.
And a ball of teriyaki sauce to the eyes. Yeah. Or whatever was in that. That was a good move. That was a good move.
Amazing. So I just love that whole scene. Yeah. And again, it really showed his character of, he really cared about those kids. Yeah. So it was like, I'm going to teach you a lesson without bringing any real permanent damage to you at all.
And he's got, we talk about street cred and alliances and respect.
Yeah.
As soon as the lady behind the counter calls him coach, those boys are like, This is our guy. This is the legend. This is Coach himself. Man, you do so many great things. You're so cool. We're so sorry. And he's just immediately forgiving them, and he's just a good guy with a good heart.
Great dude.
Just very likable.
Then puts himself on the line in their stead. So they go and do something stupid. He goes and said, "Hey, put the blame on me." So I mean, what kind of leader? You know what I mean? You have to respect a leader like that. So again, why he's one of my favorite characters in the movie.
And he sniffs out right away with Matthew McConaughey. He said, "This is my guy. Yeah, I'm helping him. I'm sticking with him, helping him out. My boys messed up.
Yeah,
I know who they messed up against, and I come to him. I'm not a gangster, but sometimes I do gangster things."
That was dope because he doesn't mess around because he could do gangster stuff. He wasn't
because he's trying to help a bunch of gangster kids.
Yeah,
sometimes you got to show them you can be a little gangster too, but in a way for the greater good. And I don't think I'll ever find myself doing gangster things for the greater good.
No, right?
But if I had the opportunity, I would like to think that I would do it.
Put yourself on the line
for the greater good and for the kids. So
the music video that they made at the weed farm, I was dying. Oh my gosh!
Can we to bridge that?
Yeah.
So a character I wanted to throw out there is Ernie, who's from the Toddlers, played by a guy named Bugsy Malone. Okay. So Bugsy Malone, I only know about. I'm a big fan of a show called Top Boy.
Okay.
Top Boy is a British show. It's on Netflix. It's excellent. It's about the terrace houses.
Okay.
This is like your project houses in London.
Okay.
It's really, really good. And it follows a kid. His name is Renell. I think he's probably 12, 13 years old. And just what life is like. His mom is in a mental institution. He's on his own. He's trying to navigate the drug dealers, trying to pull him into the gangs. It follows the two drug dealers in the terrace house there. It's really, really good. Drake liked it. Was such a big fan of it that they tried. I think the BBC had it or Sky or somebody. Okay. They tried to drop it for 2 seasons, and Drake funded the 3rd season with Netflix. That's when she liked it. Yeah.
Wow.
Produced it. He had a big buy-in. It's really good. Bugsy Malone has a great soundtrack. Bugsy Malone does a few songs on this, so that's the only reason I knew about him.
Interesting. But so that's where some of this.
Bugsy Malone comes from a genre that's unique to the UK called grime.
Okay.
And it's like British hip hop, but it's a little different. It goes back to a really great group called The Streets. If you want to check them out, they kind of were pioneers and all of that. And he's the modern version. As far as I can gather, he's one of the best in that genre. But grime's cool for one reason. I like it a lot. Grime talks all about what it's like being two things. One, mostly black in the UK, which is something we don't hear about a lot over here.
No, you don't.
And the second thing it talks about is being a young man. And I just think, there's a lot of that there, which I think is really, really cool. But what's different in American rap, you have stories like Jay-Z, like actual rags to riches, like international stardom.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to name me one single British grime rapper who has reached that kind of level. I mean, you don't even know what them in the U.S.
No.
So they're not about money and cars and all those things. The corny ones are. But the good ones are all about just like, man, life is tough. Yeah. And it's very real. It's very gritty, very raw. I just want to give a plug. There's Spotify has a playlist. I think it's called UK Grime. Check it out. Just throwing it out there for everybody to know about. Bugsy Malone comes from that. He does the soundtrack for this movie. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my boy Bugsy Malone. So yeah.
Dope. Yeah, I was not familiar with him at all. Yeah. When his boys went to kidnap the media outlet guy, and the guy was like, and he had his, his security, his weak security, and he was like, Russ does karate, and he's like, I'm only a blue belt. That was a really funny part for me too. Again, just like, tongue-in-cheek humor, and it's just really funny.
The toddlers coming in, first showing up in the bunker to rob the marijuana farm, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Another small plot twist, but a plot twist nonetheless, because they lead you to believe these are a bunch of punk kids who think they're going to hit it big, and you have all these hard guys coming out who work for Mickey Pearson, Matthew McConaughey's character, and you're like, oh, they're going to mess these kids up.
Yeah.
And then you get the jump cut to the rap video of them like
and they're
doing their shit, just beating those guys up. And I did, that's what he does. He just gets
you. That twist. So
you never know what to expect. Yeah.
No, and at first you see that and you're like, dang, how these guys are gonna really take them. And then when you see it come full circle, you're like, okay, cool, I'm cool with that. Yeah. Like you're not upset with that again because you're rooting for Matthew McConaughey the whole time. Those guys. Yeah. The pig video, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Just like Black Mirror. Have you seen Black Mirror?
Yeah, first episode. Yeah,
I'm like,
wow, yeah,
brutal.
I don't really get like. It's gonna. I don't know what sort of drugs they put him on or what they did, but I don't know what you gotta be.
You can't
on.
live with yourself.
I don't know what you gotta be on to do something like that. Yeah. So I don't ever want to see somebody do that or find out, and so. Yeah, that just blows my mind. It's twice we've seen it now. I guess that's a big British thing.
Really?
That first, I don't know, but that first time with Black Mirror is just the Prime Minister of England or the UK. So it's just, I'm just there must be a theme in British culture that you don't, thank goodness, see a lot of in America. So you Brits can have that one.
Yeah,
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it too much.
No, not at all. Also, I think the most gangster thing is to commit a crime in broad daylight without a mask. So I thought there was a lot of that in this movie, especially with the toddlers when they went and kidnapped him and stuff like, I'm not hiding who I am. I don't have a mask on. I'm not disguising my voice. This is me. So that is the most bold move for someone is like, and I respect that. I always think like, if I will ever, again, with my fantasy of one day being a mob boss, which will never happen, I'm like, if I commit a crime, I want you to know who it was. Like, I want you to know it was me who got you. Like, I don't want it to be like I come with a mask on and like, cause that's gangster. Like, if you're really gonna do something, like stand by it. Yeah. So I thought that was dope. That Coach, you never see Coach with a mask on. Again, that same thing with Matthew McConaughey, Ray. They're just walking around in broad daylight.
Here's the thing that's different about this movie than your typical Guy Ritchie gangster movies.
Yeah.
Lock, Stock, and Snatch. They are about petty, small-time criminals. These are guys like Lock, Stock. They lost a gambling match, right, on petty money. The other one, Snatch. They messed up with. There's guys who messed up on a diamond heist. There's guys who messed up on betting on a boxer. They got to. It's all small-time guys who are just getting beat over the head until they finally get a break.
Yeah.
And they have to deal with the cops all the time. Like the cops show up here and there. This movie has no cops.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the distinction. These guys breathe rarefied air. They are powerful enough that they can do these things in broad daylight and not about the repercussions.
True.
And so this is different. You've got top class criminals in this one.
Yeah, you don't have
Far Cry from the small time guys that are in his earlier movies. And I just think that was kind of interesting distinction you see here. And it was cool. They were cool. They were tough guys.
I really enjoyed it, man. The ending, I truly thought that Mickey was gonna go down at the end. So all gangster movies and kind of end with, at some point, when I say all, I mean like whether it's the first one or if there's installment, like several films in the franchise or Scarface, whatever. It always ends with these guys, a good portion of them at least, maybe not every single one, either like I said, snitching, dying, or ending up in prison, or being set back. Hitting the mic here, but yeah, or being set back from where they were at before. So I mean, even you see that with like Casino, where where Robert De Niro ends up going back basically to where he started from at the beginning of the movie. So again, not in prison, not dead, but there's some type of setback. And I really like that that's not what happened this one. We kind of got the ending that we wanted. But Matthew McConaughey couldn't. By the time we got to the end, he couldn't die. Ray couldn't die. I would have been upset. It would have taken away from the movie. Yeah. Even though that's what I was expecting.
Yeah. It's funny because just when you think they finally have cleared all the obstacles, the Russians show up.
Right.
The ex-KGB, now turned world-class gangster criminal, is after them because his idiot son got strung out on dope and fell over a balcony. Right? Trying to beat up a guy 10 times his size. And so just when you think, oh, my problems are going to come from the fact that I'm trying to negotiate a 500 million pound weed sale, or it's going to come from the fact that I'm messing with multiple gangs around the city and a crazy guy like dry eye. No, your biggest problem almost came from some idiot kid. You didn't really kill it. It was the gravity that killed him. Right. That's
right. Exactly.
Right. So it's like But by the way, I love that scene.
Yeah.
And not that the kid fell off the balcony. That's super tragic, obviously. But the cell phones. The cell phones, right? Because it's like the kids are all filming it. And
immediately as he dies, they pull their phones out.
They pull their phones out. That just again, like, that's a terrorist house where Top Boy takes place. Like, that's what these kids see. Yeah. And they're just like, well, and again, it's like this mindset of this has got to go on the internet. So much internet culture themes in this movie. Yeah. But it's just funny to me because, like, that was a problem that gangsters 10 years ago did not have to worry about.
10, 20, 30.
Is kids being so quick to the camera. And there's just so many threats. Again, their second biggest threat almost came with a bunch of punk 15-year-olds who weren't in school filming this idiot kid who fell off a balcony. I shouldn't call it idiot. He's got a drug problem. It's very tragic. But,
he's a fictional character, so we'll let it slide.
Yeah. But, I have a little sympathy. It's a hard life. But yeah, it's just funny, like, all the different problems you got to deal with. Even and Guy Ritchie nails those details. Yeah. He nails those details, and that's just, another thing he did really well. So, and I thought that was funny.
I really enjoyed the ending. I thought they did it well. Final thoughts really on it. I loved it. So I really loved the movie, if you can tell from how I've been talking about it so far. For me, I honestly wouldn't have changed anything about it. I think the action, the story, the twists, cast, length, even, and the ending. Like, honestly, I really enjoyed it. There wasn't a part in the movie, honestly, where I was bored. There wasn't a part where I was upset with the direction it was going. Again, it wasn't too long. I didn't think, that could have ended 30 minutes ago. I honestly, I think they were very mindful with the time, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I think, and again, that closing scene where he finally closes in on Matthew, not Matthew McConaughey, Matthew Jeremy Strong's character. You just see that viciousness where you think, Matthew walks in there thinking, all right, like, I'm gonna get this thing for a steal, 130 pounds instead of 130 million pounds as opposed to, I think, 400. Right. And then he just flips the script on him. And he like itemizes it. Yes. Because of this, and this is actually this price now. Yeah. And you're gonna pay me that, but on top of that, you try to assault my wife. Yeah. And more. And the only way you can make up for that, you can't make up for that money.
Pound for flesh.
I need that pound. And so here's this. I was talking. I was telling you before the podcast before I came over here. I was at work, and I was talking about this movie with our creative director. Yeah. And she was just pointing out, like, the details that Guy Ritchie nails. Yeah. And in the background of that whole scene, I didn't even notice this. I want to see it again to check for it. Yeah. In the background of that whole scene, there's a scale, like a meat scale, behind the whole time, and then it, like, it's then it's there the whole time, and then he says, I need my money, and I need my pound of flesh, and if you're a penny or a gram short, a pence or a gram short, like, we're not opening that fridge and you're gonna freeze to death. You got minutes. So that's cold. That's cold blooded.
Cold blood. You gotta think a pound of flesh. You're not gonna guess correctly off the first rip. So either one, you're gonna do it, it's gonna hurt really bad, and you're gonna be like, oh no, I have to do more, or you're gonna do too much. Like, let's say you end up accidentally doing 3, because you don't know how much a pound of.
There's a lot I could say. I wouldn't get into grisly details. Horrible enough, but that's that's the stone cold. That's the stone cold. Mentality that we get from Mickey Pearson, and he stood up for Rosalind.
Yeah, man, that's his wife. So you can't mess with a guy's wife.
That's right. That's off limits.
That's family is off limits, and that's a code that we see consistently throughout any gangster film. Family's off limits, and then if that happens, then all bets are off basically. My favorite quote from the movie and quote from Matthew McConaughey was can't have doubt because doubt causes chaos and one's own demise. It's basically a play on the rewording basically of scripture, James 1 and 6 through 8 about a man being double-minded. But I love the quote. I think about this sometimes when I hear quotes that I'm like, oh, that's from a scripture. I don't think people realize, or actually, like I know a lot of people don't realize how many quotes derive from scripture.
Yeah.
Whether it's biblical scripture or the Quran or any type of text of that nature from religious texts that are just reworded and packaged differently.
Yeah,
it's funny.
I didn't catch that. So that's a good catch. This is James.
James 1 and 6 through 8. Yeah, so yeah, it's a very like about a man being double-minded, awesome. and that's what immediately what came to mind when he said, can't have, again, his quote was can't have doubts because doubts cause chaos and one's own demise, which is essentially a paraphrasing of that scripture. But again, that was my favorite quote. But yeah, I was entertained the whole time. Couldn't have predicted any of it. I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, I saw this coming or I saw that coming. No. Couldn't have seen it. And thought it was really good. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I'd give it a 7.
7?
Yeah, 7. Mm-hmm.
7.
Even.
This might be the first time actually. Maybe first time. I have to go back and really check that I'm giving a movie a higher rating than my guest. I give it a 10.
A 10.
A 10. I loved it.
Wow.
I loved it.
Good.
I really loved it. I don't give a lot. I think this was a 10. I didn't review Jojo Rabbit, but I would have given it a 10. I think I gave Frozen a 10, and I gave Toy Story 4 a 10. So I usually only give animated films a 10, but again, I love organized crime films. I loved it. Like I said, I wouldn't have changed anything about it. I was just going to see it opening night. I wouldn't be upset if I would have paid full price if I went on $5 Tuesday and got some free popcorn. So I was happy about that.
I would say something about this movie in just in terms of ranking it.
Absolutely.
A comment you made on the Bad Boys for Life podcast the other week. You said that when you go to see this movie, if you're going to looking to see an Oscar candidate, you're going for no one's trying to make an Oscar movie here.
Yeah.
No one's trying to make an Oscar. It's Bad Boys. It's, so I think Guy Ritchie maybe with this one was making a play for it, but typically that I don't think that's his primary goal. No. And this movie, it's fun, it's exciting. You don't know what to expect. There's twists and turns, and it's not going to be an Oscar win. It's not going to be movie of the year. No, but it can get some maybe like sound, wardrobe, things like that. But But yeah, so I think it's important too when you rank this movie. Just I think you thought you made a really good point with. I think some people are unfair. Like they try to compare this movie to Parasite. It's not going to happen.
It's not fair. I think you have to
take it for what it is.
For what it is. And I think your rating of 7. Just kind of thinking of you're a huge fan of Guy Ritchie.
So I'm comparing it against other Guy Ritchie movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and
I British think crime in general, or all American British international crime movies,
which
in
is
general.
super fair. And I think I think the most fair way to ever rank something is to rank it against itself. So again, whether I'm looking at let's say we watch a basketball player. We're only really ranking them based on what their own best is. So like a LeBron, you expect more from a LeBron than you do from a J.R. Smith or whoever the case may be. Avery Bradley. If Avery Bradley drops 35, 10, and 12, you're gonna be like, we're gonna rave about it. If LeBron drops that, you're gonna be, it's just another Tuesday. Yeah. So again, it's not dissing what he does, but again, you're judging him based off of his own personal best. So again, being a huge fan, I think that's super fair. Upcoming movies, what you got for me?
Okay, all right. So this is very literally. I was going through clips from this movie before I came over here.
Really, okay.
Just to kind of get just to refresh on anything I could find. And I got YouTube serves me a trailer for this movie, and it's called Woman in the Window. All right,
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, it's a thriller. It's Amy Adams.
Love Amy Adams.
Yeah. I know. You gotta see this trailer. It looks so exciting. Amy Adams. You got Gary Oldman, you got Julianne Moore, who might not be Julianne Moore. You know what I mean? If you've seen the trailer, go watch it.
I'm definitely going to.
And actually, you've got Alfred from Atlanta. You haven't seen Atlanta. He's awesome. He's growing. I'm seeing him in more and more films. He was in Joker.
What's his name?
I don't know his real name. His character name is Alfred. I always forget his real name. He's amazing.
Oh, Brian Henry. Okay.
Yeah, Brian Henry. He and Lakeith Stanfield both in Atlanta, blowing up. Lakeith Stanfield was incredible in Knives Out.
He's been alive.
It's funny because in this Girl in the Window movie, Alfred Miles is playing a detective, and it's like, well, Lakeith Stanfield's gonna be a detective.
Right.
I'm gonna be a detective too.
Yeah.
We're gonna go toe for toe, my man.
That's awesome.
So anyway, that kind of cracked me up when I saw it.
I can't wait to watch this trailer when we get done.
I'm telling you, it is.
Because I'm a huge Amy Adams fan, and he's an advocate for her winning awards, and she doesn't win. So.
Yeah, and I was gonna come in. I was like, I'm about to come in and say Bond's the movie looking forward to the most because nothing else looks that great. And then then YouTube like saves the day, starts up a chunk. Anybody who's ever mad about YouTube taking your data, like that was a case where like I was glad they did because they knew what I wanted to see.
Nice.
And it looks incredible. So please check that out if you get a chance. I'm really excited for that one.
100% will. Whenever you just got me hyped, and I haven't even seen it yet. Black Widow is mine. I don't think I've said that on here yet, but Black Widow. I think that's a pretty easy answer. I love hero movies. I love ScarJo. So I'm all in for this one. I'm interested to see how Marvel proceeds following the events of Avengers. I know that this movie predates the timeline of Avengers, but again, yeah, I'm see what they do here, and I'll have a lot of criticism for Marvel movies a lot of times on the podcast, but it's still a huge fan of superhero films, and yeah, so I'm excited to see it. That is all I had. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Alan? Anything else that you want to get off your chest before we shut it down?
Man, no, I mean we really got through all my notes. Well,
nice.
That barbecue table thing he had in his backyard.
That's dope, right? Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all the details of sophistication where what's Fletcher's like, got any steak?
Yeah.
And he's like, I got some Wagyu. Oh, you know what? Wagyu's like a very, very expensive steak.
I didn't know what it was.
And so it's like, of course he has Wagyu.
Yeah.
And he has this this fancy bottle of scotch and all that stuff. We like all those little details. And that barbecue table was pretty cool. And I'd like to learn more about how I could get one of those.
Right? I was wondering, like, do I have to get that custom? You probably had to get it custom made. You probably
That was a cool touch.
That's pretty dope.
So that's awesome movie. Cool. Ton of fun being on here and talking about it.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Coming out here, yeah.
This is my first podcast.
Nice. Okay.
I listened to it. I always wanted to be on. This is a dream come true.
Well, here we are, goal. Man. That's what we do.
At Todd. Trust. Yeah. So thank you so much, man. This is a ton of fun.
Appreciate you. We have to do it again sometime. Thank you all for listening. Until next week. Peace out.